Clear my throat before I get into this presentation um, today. Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbie. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of GRCAM, which stands for the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. I created this platform to discuss cultural issues, political issues, and social issues using an Afrocentric perspective. I interview activists, authors, entrepreneurs, and musicians. I also created this platform in order to recruit brave and smart Black Americans beyond Chicago, as well as brave and smart African immigrants across the United States of America from 10 African nations. They are South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. You're going to play a significant role in this um, Christian business that I'm trying to get popping here in the city of Chicago, you know. And like I say, um, all I want you all to do for me, all of my listeners worldwide that's listening to this, please just purchase my ebook, read my story for yourself. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, specifically Black Chicago, then you will automatically become a GRCAM member. I'm only going to take advice from those that's going to be members, not people that just want to sit up here and impose their opinions on me, and yet they're not a member of GRCAM. They're not trying to buy items from the virtual store. They're not trying to donate to the film project. So I want to connect with those of you that's here in the United States, right? And it's going to be based on two fronts. This business, a domestic front, which is we're going to focus only on the United States of America, and an international front where we're going to focus on the African continent. But we got to get it popping here first, ladies and gentlemen. I am now I am unable to reach Black Americans due to the slave mentality within Black society. For 34 years, I've been reaching out to Black Americans, specifically Black Chicagoans, in real life as well as online. The majority of them tell me that they're not interested in my vision and plan to help improve our social conditions in the low income Black community. And that's fine, no problem. And that's how come I created this platform, because I refuse to be ignored. I got something positive I'm trying to build for um, my people, Black Americans who identify as DAS FM. That means descendants of American slaves slash freedmen. That's what this business is all about, trying to help you. I encourage all of my listeners across the United States of America and around the globe to please help get my ebook on that bestsellers list. And again, the book is, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. It's available in two forms: as an ebook for $9.99 or as a softcover book for $15 plus shipping and handling. I will provide my Amazon author page in the comment section below this audio podcast. By helping me get my ebook on that bestsellers list, this will help put me in a better position financially so that way I can hire Black people, African people, and others. You know what I'm saying? And so this coming, like I say, this coming Saturday, we're going to be hosting our monthly virtual interactive conference. We do that once a month, trying to raise funds for our film project. We're trying to raise $250,000 on our crowdfunding sites. We use crowdfunding because we want everybody to know where the money will be going. Our objective is to build the best Black Christian business within the United States of America, and that is GCRCI of Chicago, which stands for the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. We're going to build it from the mud. You know what I'm saying? That means from the bottom up. So, that's, in layman terms. So before I cut and run to Africa, I want to make sure that we get this business popping here in America first for credibility. That's my way of also trying to help my people that, identify as DAS FM. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm like abandoning them, like, oh, forget them. Shoot, I don't stay in the hood anymore. Why should I care? I care because this is my God-given assignment. Yes, I don't like what I'm going through, all this being rejected and, people not patronizing, my virtual store. But God give us free will, ladies and gentlemen. Some of my critics tell me that my introduction is too long. So, for those of you who have short attention spans, then I recommend that you just go to my Medium transcript located in the comments section below this audio podcast. Click on it, then scroll down to show and prove and just watch the videos if you like. But I am here, when I get on this microphone, I'm on here to do a call of action. I'm not on here for entertainment. This is some serious business. Things is finna get even worse because things that I wrote about in that book is already coming to pass. I talked about the illegal immigration, that Latinos are going to fight like hell for their people to become citizens, and all these other groups, they are on code with each other. It's just Black Americans that's off code, meaning that we're not thinking in terms of survival. We're not thinking about helping out each other like we used to during our grandparents' the civil rights era. We don't think like that. Why? Because today, a majority of Black Americans have become Americanized and have developed a narcissist type of attitude, and as well as have taken on the colonizers' ways. So that's what we're up against. And again, this is spiritual warfare. And we got all these other groups here that's hating on Black Americans big time. We can't fight all these groups. And it's going to get worse because they're bringing in white supremacist financial elites are doing this intentionally. They're bringing in people from South America, which is Latin America. They just use the word interchangeably, but they have, a history of anti-Black sentiment in their own homeland. So when they come up here and, being placed or dumped into the low-income Black communities, then, they're doing that so that way they can compete against Black Americans for resources. And I would say within one generation, they will wipe out the Black community because they're going to outnumber us. Eventually, the Democrats will win the White House. Eventually. Yes, I understand Black Americans could keep saying, hey, we'll sit it out and all that stuff. Again, we only 12 or 13% of the population. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, um, once those Democrats get right back in power, it's going to be a done deal for Black Americans. And like I say, I've been pushing this for my vision and plan for the past 34 years. So this is where we at, ladies and gentlemen. Um, if you are new to this podcast or if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel as of yet, please do so now. Be sure to tap the notification bell for alerts when we upload a new video. Please let us know in the comment section below this audio podcast where you're listening to us from. Also, let us know what's happening in your country, in your state, or in your city. Make arrangements with me to come on this platform so that way we can discuss it on this platform in real time. If you are we are a global community and we want to keep our listeners informed about what's going on with Black people and African people throughout the diaspora. Would like for us to grow this platform to 500,000 strong and also for us to get our film project fully funded and made so that way we can use the proceeds from the film to purchase property in Chicago, Illinois, within both the low income Black community as well as the middle class Black community. And for us to become an economic base in the Black community. Eventually, in God's timing, we will be hosting African tours, Caribbean tours, and South American tours. So that way we can move beyond cyberspace and make our presence known in cities and countries around the globe. On this platform, we share news and social commentary on a variety of topics ranging from politics to social justice. I provide thought provoking views and details. I provide receipts that support my statements. I notice some of the biggest YouTubers use some of our talking points. I give authentic commentary that speak to my passion for shining light on truth and exposing lies and liars alike. I have a zero tolerance for foolishness and disrespect. So on this platform, we're drama free. I'm gonna be like that too in my real business. I'm gonna run my business the way I run my home, drama free. Because we already go through enough hell, and out here in society. So I want this to be a peaceful place where people can, oh, older people, younger people, all of that for us to just relax and just um, try our best to, enjoy life because life is too short to be going through unnecessary drama. I'm just saying. But I got to get it popping here in America first, specifically in Chicago. If it goes to other cities, cool. If it expands, if not, hey, I tried. And again, that's why I created this platform. I'm putting everything out on the table. I'm letting people know what I'm trying to do, not just sitting up here running off at the mouth. And if you want to know in details what I used to do in the community, read my book. I'm not going to sit up here and volunteer that information when I already written it down already. Read it and find out for yourself. On this platform, we are more than just talk. We will put boots on the ground and do what we can to help improve the social conditions of Black Americans who want more out of life and who want to become GERCAM members. Because after all, if you're not a GERCAM member, I'm not going to fool with you. That's just how it is. I don't even want to be bothered. This business is for GERCAM members. and their immediate family members. I'm only responsible for them. Um, I want to give notice to everyone on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my TikTok page, my LinkedIn page, and my X page. If you don't care about solving Black issues or solving African issues, then please delete me off your friends list and go on about your business. I'm just saying. Disclaimer: this content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is based on publicly available reports and verified media sources. We fully comply with YouTube's community guidelines. We do not promote violence, hate, or misinformation in any form. This podcast is available in two forms: audio and also as a written text, in order for us to reach our audience. Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast is our Black media component. I would like to encourage my listeners to subscribe to my Medium page. That's where I post my presentations. Um, I provide my Medium transcript in the comment section below this audio podcast. If you are a Black artist, African artist, such as an author, comedian, poet, musician, or entrepreneur, then please make arrangements with me to come on this platform so that way you can promote your books, your business, your music, your jokes. And if you have a small ministry, then you're more than welcome to share a 30-minute sermon with my listeners from the global community. After the show, I provide an incentive to my guest speakers by teaching them how to create their own podcast, YouTube channel, and get it monetized, as well as assist them with creating a free Wix website. I am available Thursday, July 23rd, Friday, July 24th, Sunday, July 26th through Wednesday, July 29th, all between 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. American Central Time. If you are a member of my Gurkai Africa group on Facebook, then don't worry about buying my book, because I'm mindful that those of you who reside on the continent are living hand to mouth. That's not to put you down, that's just reality. I need for you to step up and help put this platform on blast by leaving a uh, public comment about the topics in the comment section. Most of all, please share my YouTube link with all of your friends on Facebook and any other social media sites that you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. It doesn't matter how bad I would like to get my Christian business up and running in Chicago. Without financial support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my God given assignment. It is what it is. I encourage Black content creators and African content creators who have a large audience. Please allow me to come on your platform so that I can speak with your audience about my revised book and about my film project. After all, my Christian business is for Black millennials and Generation Z. Those of you that's ages 18 to 36 years old, this business is for you. If you got the brains and smarts to help me build and run this business, make yourself known to me. Don't wait until I'm dead. Work with me while I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to move this thing to the next level, and that is to get uh, our story on the big screen. So I want the whole Black world to know my. I want the whole Black world to know our story. If you rolling with us, me and Sister Renee, because we can't do all this stuff by ourselves. Work with me now while I'm quote unquote still small. Don't wait until I start making money and all this stuff to come around, because you ain't gonna get in my pockets, not at all. I'll show you better than I can tell you. Meet my story first so you'll know what you're getting yourself involved with. I do not operate like the next Black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. 34 years has not changed my views and where I stand. You know, Black Chicago, you know, they rejected it. It is what it is. but I'm still here. I'm still doing the best I can to get this thing popping. I don't want the brand and the vision to die in America. I am pushing this vision to the Black world. This is my contribution to Africa's rising. This year, we are determined to get this film project fully funded and made so that way we can get our story on the big screen in order for us to reach the Black masses as well as the Black world and let them know what we're trying to do for Black Americans who, such as myself, identify as DAS FM, descendants of American slaves slash freedmen. Upcoming events. Please mark your calendar for Saturday, July 25th. That's this coming Saturday. We're hosting our monthly virtual interactive conference. I'm encouraging at least 4 people from my Facebook page, Instagram page, LinkedIn page, TikTok page, or from my X page to come forth and to be on the panel so that we can discuss our monthly theme. That is, Africa and the Caribbean nations created a 19-point framework for reparations. Where YouTube Live, when Saturday, July 25th, 2026, time 2 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South African Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. If interested, then please send me a message to my Facebook inbox or the other social networks that I'm on. Send me message to those inboxes along with your email address so that way I can email you specific instructions about being on the panel. If you are unable to participate on our monthly virtual interactive conference, no problem. Then please listen to the replay. Leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast. And most of all, please share the audio podcast link with your friends on all social media sites that you're on. This will help get the ball rolling. If you want to be on the panel but don't know how to use StreamYard, then please make arrangements with me now before Friday. So that way I can teach you how to use it. It would take I would say less than 15 minutes. Okay. Title of this presentation. Oh, one last thing. So I'm going to say maybe Friday, I will do side A of the virtual interactive conference because I have to do my pep talk. It is what it is. I want people to understand, the importance of what we're trying to do. Because I'm not doing this stuff for my health, ladies and gentlemen. Our children are being slaughtered. It doesn't make sense in our inner cities. And all I'm trying to do is just bring this business there to try to help alleviate all those problems that shouldn't even be happening. Working with, most of all, trying to work with Black parents, single Black mothers, single Black fathers that's in the low income Black community. This business is for you and your family. I don't have any kids. So, I'm just saying this is my way of giving back because this world don't deserve my seed. That's another story. But I have enough love and concern and care for Black Americans who identify as DAS FM. I'm here to work with you and your immediate family. But we are going to raise the bar because like I say, I'm not going to be like everybody else. Not at all. That's why a lot of people act funny style with me, but that's okay. I'm going to still be Emmanuel Barbie, still keeping it real, still being true and standing on business, just how it is. And I'm going to still make sure that together, not just myself, but other GCAM members going to benefit from this business. Point blank, we're not going to just be sitting up running off at the mouth. Not at all. We're going to get things done within our power, without sitting up here complaining about the white man and the government. Ladies and gentlemen, title of this presentation: Confronting the Beef Between Black Americans versus Africans within the United States of America, and the National Urban League are helping Democrats to stop the SAVE Act. Our first topic: confronting the beef between Black Americans versus African within the United States of America. In this episode, we will discuss the difference between Black Americans, DAS FM, descendants of American slaves slash freedmen, and Africans, breaking down the issues about identity, wealth, culture, and power. The topics will include Black Americans versus African identity debates, economic differences, wealth building, cultural misunderstanding, division between the Black community and the African immigrant community, Black economic empowerment. Notice, ever since this delineation movement popped off, all of these groups who have been benefiting off our struggle are madly upset with Black Americans. Latinos are asking, where are Black people during their No Kings protests? Asians are upset that Black people are doing a wealth transfer, meaning bringing those Black dollars back to the Black community instead of spending it with all these other groups who rarely patronize Black businesses. Now Haitians have gotten their wake up call after losing their TPS, temporary protective status. Brother Tariq Nasheed coined the term FBA, Foundational Black Americans, in response to a few Afro Caribbeans and African immigrants coming over here and being very disrespectful towards Black Americans. These so called minority coalitions do not benefit us, and immigration is not our issue as Black Americans. Black Americans have decided to identify ourselves we want to, the way we want to, not terms imposed on us by the dominant society. The white supremacist financial elites used to refer to us as Negroes, people of color, and African Americans. This is one of the most sensitive conversations happening within Black America today is identity. From FBA and Adolf to Solons, Moors, Hebrew Israelites, Nubians, copper colored Indians, Black Americans. So you're going to get confused, like, my goodness, what, it's just all these different terms. But it is what it is. Black people are questioning what we should call ourselves, where we come from, and what history should we claim. My question is, this is identity crisis or a search for truth, belonging, lineage, and self-definition. For generations, Black Americans have had names imposed on us. Now we're taking ownership of the conversation and asking whether the labels we inherited still serves us. This is not about disrespecting anyone's chosen identity. It is about asking real questions. Why are so many Black Americans looking for new names? What role does slavery, loss and ancestry, DNA testing, religion, migration, nationalism, and connecting to Africa play in this conversation? And how do we move forward with clarifying without creating more division? Today is a new day. We are creating our own terms for self identity, such as DAS FM, descendants of American slaves slash freedmen, FBA, foundational Black Americans, Solons, or Black Americans. Black Americans didn't have a problem with these other groups coming over here. We just wanted them to show appreciation for what our ancestors have done for them to have an opportunity to leave their homeland and to come over here to achieve their American dream. But recently, we started to notice that a few of these foreigners are disrespecting our ancestors and calling us lazy. That's why Tariq Nasheed created the term FBA. And that's a more recent term. It came out around when Adolf was popping off. Um, I ran across a video by O'Shea Jackson. He is a Black American content creator who relocated to Uganda. The title of his video, quote, "When criticizing Africa goes wrong for Black Americans," unquote. To watch the full video, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. And like I say, once I finish reading, my speech, then we're going to take time to look at a few of these videos. We're not going to look at all of them. I'm just going to pick out the ones that stands out the most. So according to the video, African students who came to America asked Black Americans leaders for help before the Immigration Act. And our I'm gonna say our people did that. We don't have an issue with Afro Caribbeans or African immigrants who are rocking with us. We only have an issue with um, quote unquote tethers. The term tethers describes African immigrants or Afro Caribbean immigrants who relocate to America for economic opportunities using the benefits of the civil rights struggle while simultaneously um, disparaging the history, legacy, and lineage of Black Americans. So that's not cool. You're not going to be putting down our ancestors. Not at all. Even over here in my business, too. I'm not going to allow that. I watched a film called Amistad. Amistad was a historical drama film directed by Steven Spielberg based on the true events of 1839 abroad aboard a Spanish slave ship called La Amistad, during which Black Africans were abducted from West Africa for the slave trade. These Africans were able to gain control of their captor's ship off the coast of Cuba. The international legal battle that followed their capture by the U.S. government. The case was ultimately resolved by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1841 to return them to West Africa and Liberia. The Liberian government was ruled by Black Americans and their descendants Af- known as Americo Liberians for 133 years. This period of rule lasts from which Liberians gained independence in 1847 until a military coup ended their control in 1980. My ancestors built the first Black university in the Black world in Sierra Leone, Freetown. There's a lot of things we can teach Native Africans and other Black people in the diaspora. The diaspora is the future for African development. My objective for African immigrants in America is to work with me and other Black Americans in building and running the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago so that way we can get it on the international stage for credibility before I cut and run to Africa. And again, before I even go to Africa, I want to make sure that Sister Renee will be well taken care of. She's been working with me for um, 14 years behind the scenes, and I really appreciate her. I just wish I had more people like her working with me. But it is what it is. I want my advisory board or resource team to have an associate's degree or above. I want black attorneys, African attorneys, investors, financial planners, marketers, black entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and philanthropists. I gave Black America 34 years of my life trying to get this Christian business up and running, but Black Chicagoans refuse to embrace my vision and plan. So, hey, it is what it is. Um, it was my hope that the Kyle Chicago would expand to 25 cities within 25 states, but I'm still on first base um, here in Chicago, and that's unacceptable, Black America. Very unacceptable. I know you want to sit up here and try to ignore me and all that stuff, but that's okay. It's all right. Like I say, this is how come I do this platform. I want to get my message out there loud and clear. Yes, there's a lot of scammers out here. I'm not asking. Selling a book is not no scam. I just want people to read my story, and if they agree, come on and work with me and Sister Renee, and let's get this thing popping. Dag, don't do it for me. Do this for the next generation. Do this for our racial group. Um, this is why my business will be membership based, and those that's not going to be, and those that's not a part of us, we'll pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. Africa has no military power to make European nations pay them for colonization. Black Americans has no organization or unity among ourselves, you know, um, to make the U.S. government pay us our reparations as well. It is what it is. That's how come I'm saying, just work with me to help get this thing popping, and we'll keep throwing that in their face, and eventually we're going to be able to get it. Malcolm X visited Africa and tried to link the international claim of reparation through his Afro unity. Our grandparents opened the door so that um, African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans could come over here and live their American dream. Dr. King Jr. and other influence people helped Kenyan students to come to America. The Black Baptist Church helped raise funds to help these students over here and house them. Many of these students would attend HBCUs like Tuskegee University. Now, this political leverage would lead to other scholarship programs, such as the African Scholarship Program in American universities, which is also known as the AFGRA program, which sent thousands of African students to universities across the United States of America. Y'all don't understand how much financial assistance that Black Americans were giving our African brothers and sisters that was coming over here, because we viewed them as our people. But it started to change, unfortunately. Civil war or military coups started happening across Africa. In 1967, there would be the start of the um, Biafran Biafran War. The Biafran War, also known as the Nigerian Civil War, was a brutal conflict fought from July 6, 1967 to January 15, 1970 between the federal government of Nigeria and the sens- sensationist Republic of be a friend. The war resulted in 500,000 to 3 million deaths due to starvation and disease caused by a total military blockade imposed by the Nigerian government. Ghana and Uganda experienced the exact same thing. So if you're an African student and you're living in the United States, you literally coming to the States to get educated so you can go back. When these African leaders came into power, they started to oppress their own people. They didn't like the educated Africans coming back to Africa because it was a threat to their sovereignty, and they were viewed as political or intellectual elites. These new African leaders were oppressing and stealing all the money, keeping their countries the um hold on, let me pronounce this word, the dilapidated, dilapidated and poor. This video was on point. O'Shea Jackson has been living there and he learned about Africa's history. Then you have the HBCUs such as Lincoln, Howard, Tuskegee's, most notably was very popular with Nigerians, and then you also have the Midwestern Law Grant Institute that also help African students. So you have Michigan State University, Wisconsin, Madison, Indiana University, and Ohio State University because of the problems that was going on in Africa. When African students started dealing with Black Americans, they started to ask certain questions like, how is it that we can come from Africa, yet these Black Americans have so many problems in their low income community? Why are some of them on drugs? Why do they have an attitude toward white Americans? These are the questions that they started to ask themselves. Once they entered corporate America, they decided to differentiate themselves from Black Americans. This is where they started to delineate, separating themselves despite coming over here and asking Black Americans to help them. They saw us, they started viewing us through our troubles here in America. We never got a chance to leave and go to a new place to start over and build our own. We remain under our oppressors. We what we had was African students in the United States that were becoming critical of Black Americans as a whole. And what you would start to hear from these African students as they gain more college degrees and more leverage in, um, I would say, academia and in public and in politics, they would start. We would start to hear terms from the Nigerian community, such as Akata, and so I thought they said one of my African friends, told me that supposed to mean um, a lost dog, a dog without a home, but then someone else told me it's really a cat without a home. So either way it goes, it's still derogatory and very offensive. Very. You would also see African students delineating themselves from being called Black Americans or Negro at the time because the term African Americans didn't come about until the mid 80s. Now, now that particular drip between the African immigrant community and the Black community was starting to occur. But from the Black community's perspective, we didn't understand that they viewed us as another tribe. The Black community played a big role in the development of African countries due to the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. In 2019, Ghana called it the year of return because of Black Americans living in Ghana who proposed it to the Ghanaian government. Not only does it get Black American interested in the continent, it gets other peoples like Afro Caribbeans interested in reconnecting to the continent. Between 1970 and 2019, many Africans who lived abroad were in the United States, Europe, or Canada. Black Americans never had any ties to the African system. The world sees the rise of um, the rise of Black American culture, influencers, and many Black Americans are are coming to the continent to invest and establish businesses on the continent. We saw that with Sierra Leone, Ghana, and now ben- Benin. And then you got some like o- O'Shea Jackson coming to the continent. Africans in America for 2 decades were being called lazy ghetto and that we didn't want to work. Then when O'Shea Jackson and other black Americans came to the continent and talk about how institutions are ran day to day on the continent, we notice a lot of these same Africans are sitting up here in America. They have criticized Black Americans, yet they have benefited from our struggle. Black Americans played a role for Africans to be in the United States. Do the research, it's documented. But when Black Americans talk about issues we face here, all of a sudden we are the problem. One thing that we notice about Africans were when wherever they come to somebody else's homeland, never talk down to people who help get you there. Many of you don't even go back. I hate to say it, but many of y'all don't care about your own people or your homeland. You come into a foreign land as guests where people let you in, people are letting you allowing you to integrate yourselves into their culture, and you come here and have the audacity to look down on the same people who helped get you here in the first place. I rarely see Africans go to the black community and try to give back and try to be supportive. I'm just saying, when black Americans come to Africa, they are largely trying to build whatever they're doing with Africa. They are spending their hard earned money with Africa. And that's our problem. We've historically been too nice and we've been taken advantage of. Everybody knows this. We've had an open door policy where everybody could just come in. And now that we're shutting those doors, all of these other groups are crying foul. But everybody else is doing it. Black, what is Africa's contribution to Black America? What about the so-called Pan African keyboard warriors who will never go back to their homeland and fix it up? Black Americans whose ancestors were sold into slavery are still the ones who have revived the interest in the Black world for the continent. It was Black Americans and the diaspora that made that happen. When Black Americans come over here with our money after we have been historically given for the last century or half a century fighting for African causes. I had to share this video because it was very informative. The corruption that takes place. We have a documented history of assisting Black or assisting Africans, but it's one sided. What have they done for us? When do those nations ever speak up when they see bad things happening to us? Remember, South Africa spoke out for the people in Gaza. South Africa, South Africa filed an ongoing genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice in December 2023. South Africa alleged that Israel military operations in Gaza violated the 1948 Genocide Convention. What do you think is the real issue? Please leave your thoughts about the topic in the comments section below this audio podcast. Most of all, please share the audio podcast link with your friends on all social media sites that you are on. This will help keep get the ball rolling. Our second topic, the National Urban League are helping Democrats to stop the SAVE Act. First, I would recommend that you go to the National Urban League website. I have the link on my Medium transcript located in the comment section of this audio podcast. Just click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. You will see the National Urban League website. All you need to do is click on the link, then select About and go to Mission and History. The mission and history says the National Urban League is a historic civil rights organization dedicated to economic empowerment, equality, and social justice. Founded in 1910 and headquartered in New York City, the Urban Leagues collaborates at the national and local levels with community leaders, policymakers, and corporate partners to el- to eli- to sorry tongue twist to alleviate the standard of living for African Americans and other historically underserved groups, with 93 affiliates serving 300 communities in 37 states and the District of Columbia. The Urban League spearheads the Democrat the spearheads the development of social programs and authoritative public policy research and advocacy for policies and services that close the quality gap. At the community level, the National Urban League and its affiliates provide direct services that improve the lives of more than 2 million people annually. Our mission to help African Americans and others in underserved communities achieve their highest true social um, patry, economic self reliance, power, and civil rights. The League promotes economic empowerment through education and job training, housing, and community development, workforce development, entrepreneurship, health, and quality of life. I remember when I graduated from high school, I was trying to get a job from them, but they just gave me and other black youth the runaround with no help at all. That was my experience. After 2012, we stopped using the term African American because Elon Musk is considered an African American. Black Americans is our ethnic group, our culture, and our racial category. They mention other historical underserved groups. Notice these Democrat organizations constantly want to lump all these other groups with Black Americans. For example, a Latino organization called the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC. When we did the history of LULAC on their website, it said specifically for Latinos. They didn't say Latinos and other underserved groups. The same thing with Asian organizations and even Jewish organizations. They all focus on their own group and interests. The grassroots community activist movement is for descendants of American slaves slash freedmen and African immigrants who reside in the United States of America. Both groups will heal from the scars of slavery and colonization for credibility before we replicate the business in 10 African nations. Once we have a foothold in Africa, then we will launch the business in the Caribbean and in Brazil. Once we obtain a physical building, then we will encourage local residents on the west side of Chicago who reside in Austin, Garfield Park, and North Lawndale Black community to attend our mandatory orientation. Eventually, we will make our presence known on the south side of Chicago in both the low income Black community and the middle class Black community. We welcome non Black sympathizers to join us, not as groups, but as individuals. In order for them to join our Black business, we need to know a few things about where they stand on certain issues. For example, they must share their position in front of all of us where they stand on the issues of lineage based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves. Are, are you for it or against it? Do you believe Black Americans should get their land back that was stolen from them after slavery to now, whether through acts of terror or through gentrification? Yes or no? Do you believe Black Americans should have an anti Black hate crime bill? Yes or no? Everything I do is Black targeted and Black centered here in America and eventually internationally. I don't target anything else but us and what we got going on. Those who are against it can not be a part of us. Those who agree with us that we should get our reparation will have to pay a reparations fee and sit in the back seat because over here we are M1, meaning we're melanated first. Nothing else on earth matters. Our focus is on solving Black issues in America, point blank. When we come to Africa, our focus will be on solving African issues. Everyone must sign the community pledge, pass our criminal background checks, and those who are 18 and above must submit their thumbprint to be placed in our database. In time, we will offer a second chance program for people of nonviolent crimes, former gang members, and homeless individuals within our community, depending on our budget and sponsorship. In Chicago, Chicago, we will raise the bar in Black America by separating ourselves from the enemy within our racial group, who are con artists, Black boule, degenerates, Democrat shields, hardened criminals, pedophiles, off code Negroes, and urban terrorists. There will be consequences in place to handle such persons through our Judas list. And I talk about that in the book. In contrast, when we look at so called Black organizations such as the NAACP, NAN, which is the National Action Network, and the Congressional Black Caucus, they all say the same thing: Black and underserved groups. They are not focusing solely on Black Americans because they have been compromised. When cases like Carmelo Anthony happens, they're not on the front lines of it because of their political affiliation with the Democrat Party. The Black grassroots have a wealth transfer going on, but notice the National Urban League doesn't say a word about it. The National Action Network doesn't say a word about it. They're quiet because they are not here to serve Black Americans' interests, but rather the white supremacist financial elite's interest in maintaining white supremacy. They created to, to serve the Democrat Party while using our struggle to benefit these other groups. This is why we're delineating ourselves from these other groups. For example, we're no longer falling for the so called minority coalition of Black and Brown, Black and LGBT, Black and Asian, etc. The National Urban League, the NAACP, and the Congressional Black Caucus all need the Black vote. These other groups are gatekeepers to get Black voters back on the Democrat Party and give us nothing in return. They want to continue practicing benign and neglect. To fully understand what I am saying here, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link Then scroll down to show and prove and look exactly for the article entitled, quote, Benign Neglect on Race is proposed by Daniel P. Monahan to President Nixon. Also read up on mepar- mem- hold on, Moran- Memorandum 46, which is from President Jimmy Carter's administration. Read up on that. The white supremacist financial elites pay black politicians millions of dollars each year to help them deliver the black vote to the Democrat Party. The name of the game is to help them get elected through the black vote without giving black people anything except symbolism. I have been preaching to black Americans for 34 years about demanding economic tangibles from these black politicians, but black America has not embraced my call to action, my vision and plan to help improve the social conditions in black America. So at this stage of the game, black America has only two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace my vision and plan and become a GRCAM member. If Black America want to survive. This is why Al Sharpton was so upset about the brother talking about reparations. Notice these politicians are dying in those seats of power. They think they're relevant there. Y'all have no clue what's coming down the pipeline for Black America with AI and robots replacing humans in occupations. These civil rights organizations are not getting Black people prepared for what's coming down the pipeline. I warned Black America about this in my revised book, as well as on my blog posts. I used to say that stuff back in the 90s, and now my words are coming to pass. The white supremacist financial elites on the Democrat side wants to flood our community with illegal immigrants from South America in place in places that have an anti-black sentiment from their homeland. They want to dump these people in the black community so that they can compete against us for resources. Their objective is for ethnic cleansing of black people in large urban cities across the United States. These policies are designed to target black populations in order for them to achieve a permanent demographic shift and erase the black presence. I ran across an article entitled, quote, The National Urban League are helping Democrats to stop the SAVE Act, unquote. To read the full article, just go to my Medium transcript located in the comment section below this audio podcast. Click on the link, then scroll down to show and prove. Black Americans had to fight for everything we have in this country. That's not democracy. According to my understanding, the articles state that the National Urban League denounces the Safeguard American Voters Eligibility Act and says it is an extremist effort to dismantle democracy and disenfranchise millions of American voters. The article is saying that Republicans are attempting to undermine the foundation of our democracy, our fundamental right to vote. The National Urban League president Mark Morrill says combating so called voter fraud, a problem that does not exist. The SAVE Act requires all voters to show documented proof of citizenship like a birth certificate or a passport anytime they register to vote. These career politicians keep claiming that black people don't have access to obtaining our birth certificates. Not all Americans have a passport. If you own a bunch of if you owe a bunch of child support or you owe a large tax bill, you're not going to be able to get one. Also, certain criminal charges um, could prevent you from getting a passport as well. Truth be told, the Democrats are trying to get illegal immigrants to vote in our elections. This article claims that more than 21 million Americans do not have a birth certificate. If there are some administrative issue, then stop making it all about Black Americans. There are so many places where Black Americans need ID. For example, when you go to the club, the lounge, or want to drink, you can't get a job without having an ID. Then they start talking about a whole bunch of other stuff that's have nothing to do with the Save Act. I'm just saying. Um, that's just their opinion about the Trump administration. In the article, it says, quote, the National Urban League will not be quiet as congressional Republicans allow this illegal power grab to strip away the right to vote, unquote. They encourage members of Congress to vote against this transparent effort to silence the voice of the people. Notice they said we won't be quiet as congressional Republicans allow this illegal power to script away the right to vote. I have a question for the National Urban League. Why won't you all fight like this for reparations? Why won't you fight like this for an anti-black hate crime bill? Why you won't fight like this to end mass incarceration of black people? Why won't you fight like this for a forensic audit of all banks in this country to see how many home loans and business loans have been denied for black Americans and compare it with white Americans based on the same credit score, the same amount of money made per year? Why aren't you fighting for the right to put more money into creating our own schools and our own black institutions? Why aren't you fighting for black entrepreneurs to conduct their business without harassment and sabotage that's happening with these other groups? We have a lot of economic warfare going on against descendants of American slaves slash freedmen. The National Urban League, the NAACP, the National Action Network, and the Congressional Black Caucus, none of you are saying a word about Black issues. The grassroots community activist movement is calling upon our Black youth, Black parents across the United States of America to join us in solving Black issues, starting here in Chicago. That's all I've been trying to do. We're trying. We're also calling upon African immigrants across the United States of America um, to please purchase my ebook and read my story for yourself. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve the social conditions in, um, in Black America, then you will automatically become a GRCAM member. Help me get my ebook on the bestsellers list so that way I can be in a better position financially to hire Black people, African people, and others. That's all I've been trying to do, ladies and gentlemen. Also, work with me in getting our film project fully funded and made so that the Black masses will know who we are and what we're trying to do in our inner cities in America, starting in Chicago. Now, if it expand beyond Chicago, that's fine with me. But that's all I want to focus on is just Chicago. Once it's up and running in Chicago, then I can take the business to the African continent. That's that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm called to do. 34 years behind schedule. But hey, it is what it is. God is my witness. What is voting going to do? Black Americans have been voting for 60 years, and yet things are getting worse in the Black community. Black Americans voted heavily in the 2020 election for Joe Biden. I was against it, but Black Americans needed to a wake up call. We got a bunch of illegal immigrants dumped in the Black community. Keep in mind why Trump won the 2024 election. He won because Democrats refused to listen to the Black grassroots. Having Obama to come out and talk down only to Black men, that was very disrespectful I'm just saying. He didn't say nothing to white men or Asian men or Latino men. So where was the Urban League when black Chicagoans were complaining about the influx of illegal immigrants in our community and how they were getting access to all of our tax dollars to help feed them and house them? How black Chicagoans were being ignored by Brandon Johnson. Das FM in New York City could not get food, but these illegal immigrants could get food, shelter, and free health care. But when DAS FM asked for our reparations, all of a sudden we're labeled lazy. That's why a lot of DAS FM said it out. The Democrats don't want to take responsibility why Trump won the second term. No black person in their right mind wants a bunch of illegal immigrants dumped in their community. Then they open up a bunch of businesses in our community and we are supposed to patronize them? Hell no. When we want we want the Ask FM in these businesses in our community serving our people. The 14th Amendment was ratified in 1865, which means which made us full citizens of this country, which means we have access to our birth certificates because we're citizens of this country. Don't let them insult us that we don't have an ID, we don't have a birth certificate, we can't go get a passport. The only reason they're doing this is because they want the immigrants to vote. Well, the illegal immigrants to vote. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites that you're on. This will help get the ball rolling. I am a Black American, a descendant of American slaves slash freedmen. I am called to help improve the lives of Black Americans who become CAMP members and build a connection with African immigrants who want to be part of us. The CAM members will assist me in building and running this Christian business so that both groups, Black Americans and African immigrants, can build and heal from the scars of slavery and colonization. My people who have been who have the moral capital, our fight for civil rights and human rights. This business is for you and your immediate family members. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. Thank you all for listening to our audio podcast and for joining us on the live stream. We greatly appreciate it. I need you all to support our film projects so that we can move Cam to the next level, and that is on the big screen to let the whole Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for DAS FM, Descendants of American Slaves slash Freemen. Quote, Hood Liberator, made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our crowdfunding pages, which are going which are our GoFundMe page, our Buy Me a Coffee page, or our PayPal Giving Fund page, which will help make marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. Thank you for listening to our YouTube live or the replay. If you reside on the African continent, then I recommend that you follow me on my Pod Chaser because it won't eat away your bundles. It's only audio. I provide the link in the comment section below this audio podcast. If you are new to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast, welcome to our safe space where we discuss Black issues and African issues. We do this every week. This will conclude our audio podcast for today. Like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next episode. Peace and blessings. Now, before I go, I'm going to share those videos with you all. So just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay. I got some people that left some comments in the chat room. Again, like I say, I mean, I can give you the link and you can come on here and talk with me directly. You know what I'm saying? So it says something. I'm gonna just spell it out: Yulebrenner, 1906. That person is saying we are not African Americans. We are Black Americans. African immigrants are African Americans. Okay, all right. You just probably just start listening to my stuff because I already went over that. Now, another person by the Black American homeland. I live, work, and travel to 10 African countries, 1994 through 1996, and all of them were completely disappoint disappointments. Cape Town, South Africa is an exception, but it is still very dangerous in the Cape Flats. Okay, all right. No one is gonna wipe out FBA, and that's coming from someone called True Pilgrim 144K. Sir, they're already wiping us out, especially in the ghettos. We're being slaughtered. That's how come, I'm trying to bring my business over there. Slowly, we're being, I would just say, eliminated. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can invite you all to come on this stream so that way you can talk and you can get on camera if you want. But bottom line, you can speak with me and let the whole world know who you are and how you feel. So I posted the here's the link. Just click on that. I hope you know how to use StreamYard. Any of y'all, you're welcome to come on here and you can ask me questions. You know, that's fine with me. All right, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna play some of these videos, and then we'll call it a day. Um, we're gonna do O'Shea first. Check him out.
In the 1950s, many African countries demanded for their independence, and one country would lay the blueprint for that success, and that person was Kwame Nkrumah. In 1957, his referendum freed Ghana from British rule. And then you will see the same thing in 1960 with Balewa as the first prime minister, and then later Nnamdi Azikiwe becoming Nigeria's first president in 1963. Now, the correlation between Kwame Nkrumah and Nnamdi Azikiwe is that they both went to Lincoln University and HBCU in Pennsylvania, laying down the framework for pro-Black thought on the African continent. And other countries would take notice. In 1962, Uganda would also get its referendum approved to break away, and Kenya would do so in 1963. But the problems that African countries would face would be more difficult than they expected. And here's why. Most African countries would lose the stabilization that helped them develop in the first place, at least in a Western front. Great universities like Makerere University in Uganda or the University of Lagos was started and planted by the British, but that would no longer be the case with them leaving. Once these countries became independent, the British would give Africans an ultimatum. They could give up their British citizenship and then become Ugandan, Kenyan, or Nigerian, or they can keep their British citizenship and go to the UK. And many of these people did this. And I believe this was the same case in certain Francophone countries. Just remember, Britain had educated these Africans, and the new states, Uganda, Kenya, would not be able to benefit from these Africans because they would now be a part of the British crown. So that put a lot of the African countries on notice. How are they going to be able to run these new countries without a high educated class? Because remember, a lot of the administration work was being done by the British or the French. And then we got this solution. African countries would solve this problem by sending their students over to America. One example of this program was the Nigerian American Scholarship Program. In Nigeria at this point was still selling a lot of oil. This program was set up with Ivy League universities sending its first cohort of 25 government-sponsored students to the United States in the fall of 1960. In 1959, Kenyan nationalist leader Tom Mboya came to America and asked Dr. Martin Luther King to help raise money, start the African American Students Foundation. Now, this is important to understand because remember, Kenya did not get its independence till 1960. And the UK did not want to help Kenyan students get more educated because they wanted to keep them underneath the crown. So Tom Mboya went and asked Dr. King, other influential people, such as Jackie Robinson and Harry Belafonte, would they be interested in what is now known as the airlifts? And this will start to send Kenyan students to America. And Black Baptist churches in the Black community said that, hey, we would fund some of the money and get some of these students over there and house them. Now, before Tom Mboya went to the United States government to do this, but what happened? No avail. But going with Dr. King, they would raise a whopping $39,000 at that particular time. That money, I believe, would go up to $200,000. Then he would ask then Senator John F. Kennedy for a $100,000 grant from the John F. Kennedy Foundation, and he would get it. Now, Richard Nixon, who would become president later, but he would eventually lose in the 1960 election, decided that as current vice president, the United States should do something about it. And they gave an additional $100,000 in loan funding to these Kenyan students. And many of these students would attend HBCUs, most notably schools such as Tuskegee University. Now, this political leverage formed by Tom Mboya would lead to other scholarship programs, such as the African Scholarship Program of American Universities, which is also known as ASPAL, and the AFGRAD program, which would send thousands of African students to universities all over America. Now, Nigeria and its oil boom will continue to do so, as well as Liberia with its great relationship with the United States. But something very terrible happened. But I bet you can't see the terrible thing that happened next. Unfortunately, civil wars or military coups started happening in Africa. In 1967, there would be the start of the Biafra War. And of course, there were certain military coups already happening at that particular time. Ghana would see the same thing with Kwame Nkrumah being ousted and a succession of leaders there in Ghana. We would see the same thing in Uganda. And so these students that had scholarships from Nigeria could see their scholarships revoked right away with a military regime change. The same thing could happen in Ghana. This did not happen, unfortunately, in Liberia until 1980. But for the other states, this is what was going on. And so if you're an African student and you're living in the States, you're literally coming to the States to get educated so you can go back. And at that time, it made a lot of sense. At one particular part in Nigeria's history, their currency, before it was called the Naira, was on par with the US dollar. This is the same thing we saw with Robert Mugabe's New Zimbabwe after being called Rhodesia in the early 80s. Now, the African youth that should have been returning to the continent, many of them were stuck in the United States because one, there was war, and two, they were targeted as political and intellectual elites. People like Idi Amin did not like elites. Certain African presidents wanted to kill elites or educated people. This happened with Ahmed Sekou Toure in Conakry, Guinea. Idi Amin did not like educated people, and neither did Ahmed Sekou Toure. If you were an African educated student, you feared for your life. There would be no reason to come back home. You would stay in America and start a new life. and many of those students did. You have three tiers of schools that these students typically went to, and that is the Harvard, Yale, Ivy League connection, Princeton, University of Pennsylvania. Then you have the HBCU sector, Lincoln, Howard, Tuskegee, most notably, and Tuskegee was very, very popular with Nigerians. And then you also have the Midwest.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with 20
law grant institutions that really helped out. So you have like Michigan State, University of Wisconsin-Madison, Indiana University, and the Ohio State University. Because of the problems going on in Africa, they would lose 50 to 60% of their investment in students in the United States forever. And when these students started to deal with African Americans, they started to ask certain questions. Number one, why are some of these students, in our opinion, not taking the opportunities like we are? How is it that we come from Africa and we're here in America, but yet these students or these kids or the Black communities, they're having so many problems? Why are some of the Blacks behaving in the way they do? Why are some of them on drugs? Why do they have such a disrespectful or attitude towards Caucasians? These are the questions that they started to ask as they went and navigated the PWI systems and started to, marry themselves or started to go into corporate America. They started to understand they must differentiate themselves from Black Americans. Maybe not all, this was typically the common thing to do, as well as certain Caribbean students also. What we had then was African students in the United States that were becoming critical of not only other Black students at the universities at certain points, but Black America as a whole. And what you would start to hear from these African students as they gain more college degrees and more leverage in either academia or the private sector, their voices would start to be heard. You would start to hear terms targeting Black Americans from the Nigerian community, such as Akata. You would also see African students delineating themselves from being called Black American or Negro at the time, because the term African American didn't come until the 80s. And so now this particular drift between the African community and the Black community was starting to occur. But from the Black community's perspective, they didn't understand where this was coming from, because number one, I just talked to you about the fact that the Black community gave its own money up to send students from East Africa to college. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Kwame Nkrumah were both educated at Lincoln University. Nkrumah is the first prime minister of Ghana, and Azikiwe is the first president of Nigeria. The Black community played a big role in the development of these countries and their ability to come not only study, but the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. So where is this energy coming from? Fast forward. The year is 2019, and Ghana has an offer called the Year of Return. This call to action takes off. And the reason why Ghana has the Year of Return, because you guessed it, Black Americans living in Ghana propose this to the government, and it takes off. Not only does it get Black Americans interested in the continent, it gets other people, most notably the Black Caribbeans, interested in the continent. And there's a reason for this, because between the time of the 1970s and 2019, many Africans who were in the States or in Canada or in the UK had given up on returning back to Africa. They did not trust the ecosystems in Africa. They did not trust African leadership, most notably for all of the failed states that they had witnessed throughout times. Many of these students had been a part of wars, or they had seen wars or rumors of wars, so they didn't come back. But Black Americans had no ties to the system, and they had never really been let down by African government. And so now you see the rise of Black American influencers, Black Americans coming to the continent, Black Americans investing in the continent starting to see Black America's leverage, giving people passports. We saw that with Sierra Leone, with Ghana, and now Benin. And then you get somebody like O'Shea Duke Jackson coming to the continent. And then when I come to the continent, largely because Africa's top people decide that they don't want to deal with it, guess what? We start to see problems here in Africa. Now, remember, the Africans in America for half a decade were calling Black Americans, not all of them at least, lazy. They didn't want to work. They were ghetto, all kinds of things that the Black community took from African students. Then when O'Shea Duke Jackson and other Black Americans come back to the continent of Africa, and we never really come online and call Africans stupid. We don't come online and say Africans stink or Africans have 3 legs or in 3 elbows. A lot of our arguments about how the institutions are run day to day. And when we talk about these things, a lot of these same Africans who are in America right now that criticize Black Americans every day right now, that have benefited from Black Americans historically as to why they're in the States, that stick their nose up at Black Americans, want certain people like me to be deported. But for years, they have been doing this. They came to America. Their parents came to America because Black Americans gave money. Black Americans fought. This is not to say that Black Americans gave all the money, but Black Americans played a role for Africans to be in the United States. It's documented. You can go and look it up. It's the truth. But when Black Americans talk about the issues that face not only themselves here, but the African youth, now all of a sudden, we are the wrong ones. We are the problematic people. But are you guys not problematic when you criticize Black Americans in the United States? Are you not problematic when you go to the UK, as you were doing in the 80s and 90s, criticizing Caribbeans? Were you not the same people that did the same thing when you were?
Now we got to go help people customize and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Maybe where's the golf cart?
In Canada? Were you not the same people who did the same thing in Australia when you migrated there? Are you not the same people that do the same thing when you go to South Africa and call them lazy? You see, the one thing that we can see with the Africans wherever they go is once they come into somebody's homeland, there's accusations or allegations of those same Africans who are becoming guests in somebody's land because somebody let them in there or somebody fought for them to be there, calling somebody names in a country that they did not help build or help fight for. Yet when somebody else comes to that continent, largely because you refuse to come back, and we talk about the issues of this, and of course, sometimes it could be complaining or looked at as complaining, you want to get that person deported, or you want that person to get beat up, or you want that person to be hurt, or you hope that person gets slapped. Well, what about the Africans who have been criticizing Black Americans for the last 50 years, calling them all sorts of names? Should those people be slapped? Should something happen to them? Should they physically pay a price? And here's the fundamental difference between the Africans that offered criticism to Black Americans the last decade and people such as myself and other Black Americans. Those Africans who benefited from Black America's infrastructure and hard work and effort, because they could have told Tom Mbu, go take care of your own people. But they never asked for the money back because it was the right thing to do. And to this day, we have never as a group threw it in Kenya's face like Nigeria has thrown it in South Africa's face for the money they gave during apartheid. All Black Americans have largely asked for is a certain level of respect. Now, of course, we're not perfect and we do things that offend Africans, no doubt about that. But still, we ask for respect. And the thing that Africans have done in America, even now, is they will sit there and criticize Black Americans. Largely have I ever really seen Africans ever try to go into the Black community and try to give back and try to be supportive. They don't mind benefiting from the structure of, racism and white supremacy or checking a box and a school application or getting benefits from the Black American community or Black society. But largely when it's time to give back something, they're now delineating. Here they are saying, I'm Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian. You see some of the Caribbean folks doing it. I'm Jamaican, I'm Haitian, and we're over here and you're over there. We don't go to church with y'all. We don't want to deal with y'all. We don't want our kids playing with y'all because y'all are over there and we're over here. But you do not see that attitude from Black Americans when we come over to Africa. We may have criticisms, but when Black Americans come into Africa, they are largely trying to build whatever they're doing with Africa. They are spending their hard-earned money with Africa. They are trying to have a positive impact with Africa. So even though we're not perfect as a group, you see the groups operate differently. The Africans get into America or to Canada or the UK, and it's all about them and their individual tribe and their individual family. When the Black Americans come over here, and even if we do criticize, we're still doing the work. We're still trying to work with our brothers and sisters. And that's why wherever we go, we get that level of respect. But when Africans go someplace, people complain. Why is that? Why is it when people complain about Africans being in South Africa? Why is it that people complain when Africans came to the Caribbeans? You always had Black Americans living in the UK, Black Americans living in France, in pretty good numbers, might I add. Maybe as much as the Africans, but you never heard of anybody complaining about Black Americans that lived in the UK, did you? They've always integrated seamlessly in any community in Europe. But the people who have a hard time integrating seamlessly are those same people that get the same complaints everywhere they go. So my question is this: who is really divisive? Is it me? Is it my community? Is it my group? Or is it our group who has laid the foundation of Pan-Africanism? Is it my group who laid the foundation or part of the inspiration for Afrobeats? Is it my group that was responsible for educating Kwame Nkrumah, Nnamdi Azikiwe, in which we now know as Ghana or Nigeria? Was that not our contribution? But what has been your contribution to Black America? What has been Nigeria's contribution to Black America? What has been Ghana's contribution to Black America? What has been any of these other African states' contribution to Black America? I can tell you exactly what the contribution has been: zero. But yet you sit there, you point the finger, you sit there, you blame, you sit there, you take no level of accountability, especially when somebody is bringing up really good questions like, what's up with the insular gatekeeping? What's up with sweeping everything underneath the rug? What's up with not telling the truth or being honest about what's going on this continent? What about the youth of Africa? What about them? Why are so many people having to leave the country, especially the biggest critics, the Pan-African keyboard warriors, who also will never come back, like their 1960s and 1970s counterparts who came to the States and understood there was no life here for them. So then you get angry when people bring out the same situations and the truth about why you're afraid to come back. So now why do you hate the person for telling the truth when that person's group has done so much to try to elevate your group? And even in 2019, because you guys who were educated and so talented wouldn't come back in large numbers, guess who took the call? Or guess who is answering the call? Now, no doubt some African diaspora is, but guess what? Some people who know nothing about Africa are answering the call. People who are spending their own money, people who are getting scammed, people who have no leverage are coming back to the continent to understand their roots. And then when things are not working out for them, you are the ones who are sitting in America based off that same community's effort because you don't do anything for your group or anybody else for that matter. You have the unmitigated gall to talk down on somebody when you have never done anything for your group or anybody else's group in the diaspora, except for take. And I don't care who is watching the video, but largely this is true. Any of the groups that I'm accusing of, you tell me what they do for somebody else. It's nothing. And then the Black Americans who got sold into slavery are still the ones who has revived the interest in the Black world for the continent. It was not the Nigerians who got the interest in the continent back. It was not the Ghanaians who did that. It wasn't the Tanzanians who did that. It wasn't the Kenyans who did it. It wasn't Ugandans who did that. We know who did it. It was the Black American celebrity who had the influence. Who did that? That's who it did. That's who got Ghana popping. That's what it was. The reinvestment in the ideology of coming back to Africa, that's who did it. That's who made Africa sexy. It wasn't Wode Meyer or any of these other African vloggers you see right now. It was Black Americans and its diaspora that made that happen. Are you mad because you didn't make that happen? And see, when we start having uncomfortable conversations, it becomes undeniable at this point who is really upset, who is really bitter here. And I'm saying this as a brother with love. It comes to a point, and certain brothers got to have some level of respect. If your group would have done what we would have done, then you would have room to talk. But when it's our people that come over here with our money, after we have been historically given for the last century or half century to the African cause, shut your mouth. Who are you to talk? You don't even do a tenth of the scale of what we've done in Africa. None of you. And we were doing it without even coming to Africa, opening up our doors at that particular time. What have you done? I rest my case. Tell me where I'm lying in this video. Comment below.
This waste timber belt is perfect for anyone looking to get the job done. It's made with a breathable material, so it's comfortable.
Okay, it says FBA. Oh, okay, it's the same, I think. If L Burn 1365 says FBA bloodlines are indigenous to America. We're not Africans. My great grandmother looks indigenous. Okay, cool. But hey, if you want to, I gave you the link if you want to come on here. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, let me play this one.
I made an all black D&D Discord server, and I posted it on Instagram that I made this server. And literally, it's of course white people, some of them, that's saying like how they don't like this idea, and you can just imagine some of the stuff that they would say. But what's not clicking for me is that why do people not understand what a safe space is? It's just a safe space for us to be able to play D&D and be able to share our experiences and things that we've been through. Because it's not just us playing Dungeons and Dragons; we sharing our experiences in there as well. I just don't understand what's the problem. You're mad about one space that you can't get into? Like, if you join any Dungeons and Dragons game, it's predominantly a white table. And you're mad because I made a space where we can play together. It's not trying to say that some people don't have their outside games, and you act like we in here talking about y'all. We don't care. Anywho, if you black and over 21, click that link in my bio to join. I'm just, yeah, I gotta come up on here and bet.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's because they're colonizers. They always just want to just be bugging, you know? Like in South Africa, for example, you know, they have Orania, a town only supposed to be for white people. I mean, good Lord, man. If you don't like to be around black people, take your behind back to your homeland. We didn't ask you to come to the continent in the first place. Y'all behind impose yourselves. You have nothing going on over there in Europe in the first place. You went and stole all those natural resources. It happened, you know, in India and other places, but I'm just focusing on Africa. And didn't ask you to come there. But all righty. Okay, we're gonna check this out. Fair use Fair Use African Diaspora News Channel. Okay.
A friend that always asked you to help them or give them something and you did, but then when you asked them for something, they said, oh no. Would you continue to give that so-called friend something or help them with whatever they need? You probably wouldn't do that. So why is it any different when it comes to us as Black Americans and politics, specifically with the Democratic Party? Now, at this point, somebody's probably crashing out. I'm not telling you to vote for the Republicans. I'm just asking you to think. Okay. Our relationship with the Democratic Party is just like I described. They always want us to vote. In fact, the NAACP right now, they're putting a whole lot of money behind trying to get Black folks out to vote. And vote for what? Vote for more of nothing, right? So we can be told no when it's all over, and we can watch these so-called, leadership in the Democratic Party, specifically the Black ones, go and crash out for illegal immigrants. And I always ask, well, can illegal immigrants vote for them? The answer is no. So why are you giving everything to a people who can't vote for you, but the people who can and do vote for you, you tell them no? See, some would describe that as an abusive relationship, but within a abusive relationship, not always, but sometimes, right? there's people who are in these relationships and they can say, well, all right, I'm not going to participate in this anymore, whether it's, verbally or physically, whatever it is, you check out. But see, we haven't learned to do that. We're starting to, but we haven't really learned to do it enough to say, hey, you know what? I got some self-respect about me. I'm going to raise my self-esteem, and I'm not going to do for somebody who's not going to do for me. I'm not going to participate in that type of relationship. Now I'm going to try to be clean here, but some people would probably liken that to an S&M relationship. Now, in that type of relationship, and I just want to be clear, I ain't never been in a relationship like that, but I know some about it, okay? In an S&M relationship, there is usually, some pain involved or whatever it is, right? Maybe some handcuffs, but there's also a safe word. And when that safe word is used, that means that whatever is being done is supposed to stop. Okay. All right. I'm cool. Stop out, whatever it is, So we need to use a safe word as far as the Democrats are concerned. And that's no, or whatever it is, right? Like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe that was too many words. I don't know. But we need to re-examine our relationship with the Democratic Party because they know they stand with us. We'll continue to practice benign neglect of Black Americans, and they'll continue to give us their vote, and we'll go continue to help everybody else. See, that's an abusive relationship. It just is. And if somebody is in the habit of telling me no, when I tell them yes, we're not going to hang out no more, because that becomes a relationship of usury, right? You're using me at that point. And that's what the Democratic Party has done to Black Americans. They have used us to no end. But again, a lot of that is our fault because we allow them to do it. We get, guilted into, oh, you got to vote blue because the Republicans are this, that, and the other. They might be all of that, okay? And that's kind of the problem with the Democratic Party. They want to Trump, but they never say what they're going to do. Well, we don't know what we're going to do by you, but we want you to be afraid of Trump. Okay, I'm afraid of Trump. Now what? What are you going to do to help us and ease our fear of Trump? You never talk about that. You just talk about you got to vote for the Democrat that practices benign neglect of you because Trump is the boogeyman. Ow. All right, now what? So I'm just asking y'all to think about some things again. Think about that friend that always tells you no when you tell them yes. How long are you going to continue to tell them yes? Just asking. So anyway, for more insightful commentary, y'all please like and subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetria K Show, here on YouTube. Peace.
Fair use ADNC.
Not too long ago in Houston, an immigrant by the name of Lorenzo Araujo was unalived by ICE agents during a traffic stop that looks like it went, pretty wrong. And I want to say right off the top, I do not believe that anybody should lose their life over a traffic stop, whether you're going to be detained for deportation or whatever it is. However, there's been a lot of people speaking out about it. There's been a lot of protesting, and you name it. City council meetings have just been, very heated. At one point, they said over 100 people signed up to speak their mind to the city council, who may or may not be trying to comply with ICE. They're saying there's nothing that we can do. Okay. Now, one of the people that have said something is the NAACP president of the Houston chapter, Reverend James Dixon. And this is what he said at a press conference.
Public policies now that make and this kind of public thing legal. And right. All of us bleed the same color. Right. All of us breathe the same air. Amen. And we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And I want to say that if we continue to allow this to happen in our community, all of us are just as vulnerable as was Mr. Rahu. Araujo, it is no different. If he's not safe, we're not safe. I really want us to process the fact that that's what this administration has brought to bear on our society. There was 6,500 public that took place between 1868 and 1968, and they were legally protected. We are unfortunately in that day again to where law enforcement paid for by tax dollars are now being permitted to gun down unarmed human beings because of what we consider national status.
So as you heard him say, or compare rather, the struggle to what is going on with the illegal immigrants, right, who have come over here illegally, and they're now trying to rebrand them, right? Like they're saying, oh, nationalists. So in this case, Lorenzo was from Mexico, so they're calling him a Mexican nationalist instead of an illegal immigrant. Okay, whatever, do what you want to do with that, but I have a problem, Mr. Dixon. What I have a problem is that y'all are always trying to get everybody else involved, specifically Black Americans, by saying, oh, well, if he ain't safe or they ain't safe, ain't nobody safe. And it's like, come on, man, you're the president of the NAACP, so you should know a little bit about what's going on with Black folks, but then maybe you don't, because y'all really don't even talk about Black folks as much as you talk about illegal immigrants. But you know, it ain't going, we gonna be next, or we ain't safe. We ain't never been safe. We weren't safe when they put our people on those plantations. So what you mean? You kind of eluding that we're safe now? If you look at any news, any social media, you see Black folks catching the bad one by the police and anybody else who want to do something to us. But you know, we ain't safe. If he, Black folks ain't never been safe in this country. Now, listen, I get it, okay? Y'all got to try to glom on to other issues so y'all can stay in the spotlight. And if you ask me, I think they're using illegal immigrants as a political football, but whatever, that's for them to deal with, okay? But what you're trying to do, again, is bring us into it. And then you was talking about what they used to do to our ancestors, right? Put them up on trees and all of that. And you're comparing that to what's going on. Again, our ancestors were not here voluntarily. They were not on the plantations voluntarily. And when they were reluctantly freed from the plantations, they weren't doing anything wrong but trying to survive, because at one point in time, they were declared to be citizens, right? But so to say, oh, that's what they used to do back in the day and now they doing it again. No, they not. Okay. Now, I don't know. Maybe they are, you know, because that, right? I can't say the word because we're on this platform, but putting people on trees, the word that they use, the L word, is not, how can I say this? There's other ways to do that than to put somebody on a tree per se. So I don't know what the ICE agents got in mind. They may or may not be doing that. But again, I think it's wrong to compare what our ancestors and our people are still going through. In 2026, you are still hearing about Black folks being found up in a tree and they didn't climb it for fun. You're still hearing about that, and nobody talking about that because it's getting dismissed. And see, we're starting to learn a couple of things too. What we're starting to learn is that, there's all these cover-ups going on, especially if you're following the Nolan Wells case. It looks like, if you ask me, a lot of cover-ups within the system, or because at first they're trying to say, doesn't look like any foul play, but from what I understand, the FBI is now involved, and they're unearthing a lot of things. But at first they're like, there's nothing to see here, but a lot of people saying you a lie, because what you ain't gonna do is tell us that, you know, he just mysteriously came up unalive and he went out on the boat with those three rather white boys, right? So back to Mr. Dixon, if you don't stop, and anybody else that keeps trying to do that, Black Americans said no. Now, what do I mean by that? We are not putting our feet in the street for anybody else. I'm telling y'all, I do not agree what they're doing to the immigrants as far as taking their lives and in some of the austere ways that they are detained. I don't agree with that, just like I don't agree with the way they do us. But I do agree is that we got our own business to tend to. But to see our so-called leaders get up at these microphones and try to reel us in with, well, they doing the same thing and ain't nobody safe. Hell, we ain't never been safe here in the United States of America. Name me one time where a Black person anywhere in the United States of America has been safe. I'm not going to wait too long because there's never been a time that we have been safe. We ain't safe now. But again, ain't nobody really talking about that unless you twist their arm. So anyway, for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra K Show, here on YouTube. Peace.
Fair use, AD&C.
A 15-year-old and her 16-year-old boyfriend decided to do the unthinkable by taking out 5 of her family members and wounding severely 2 other family members. Now, from what the 15-year-old's father said, they decided to do the unthinkable because her family would not allow them to be together. Now, it sounds like the 16-year-old boyfriend had some problems with housing, right? So I don't know if he was homeless or whatever it was, but it sounds like they would run away together, staying in abandoned houses and bus, stops and things like that. Well, I guess they wanted to stay with her family. And of course, her family said no. From that point, the 15-year-old went and got her mother's keys to her weapon, right? Got the weapon and did what they did. Now, they said that the unimaginable, if you will, happened in 3 places, including the house and at a park where the rest of the family was gathering for, a Sunday afternoon or whatever it was. And so they have been charged with 12 counts, including 5 of unaliving, right? The family members. And not only did they use weapons on the family members, they did some other things and were not sad about it. In fact, it sounds like they were bragging and, teasing type of thing as they were doing it. And then when they were apprehended, obviously they are in jail now. The 16-year-old boy is being charged as an adult. And the 15-year-old, I think they're still trying to decide exactly what to charge her with as far as a juvenile or an adult. But I am just lost for words, to be honest with you, because the victims were her grandmother, aunties, and cousins, right? Ranging from 74, the grandmother, and 21, the cousin. And it's like, so you're told no. I mean, you're 15, right? You're 15. You're a child. And so you don't like to be told no. So you concoct this thing with your boyfriend to harm your family. I just don't even know what to say, y'all. I mean, I really don't. Which is why I always say, and I'm not saying this is not the case or was the case in her family situation, but we really have to reel these children in and start teaching them coping skills, having them log off these, social media, and all the other things, because these children, back in the day when we hear about these things, it was kind of like a one-off and you were like shocked, like it was unbelievable. But unfortunately, we're starting to hear stories like this more and more. And it just tells me that we're really losing control of our children, whether it's, a case like this where somebody's doing it to their own family or somewhere in the inner cities where they're doing it to somebody else's family. We really have to get a hold of our children. They belong to us. We have to get that, village mentality. And I don't know what was going on with the 16-year-old's family as to why he wasn't at home or whatever it was. But the other thing too is these unhealthy relationships these children are forming at such a young age. I was 15 once. I had, a little puppy love, but never to that degree, right? I went home at night, street lights type of thing. And, I wasn't really even supposed to have no boyfriend like that. So it wasn't even that serious. But these kids, and this is not the first time I've heard of these children getting into these trauma bonds or these bonds, right? To where they believe it's the end of the world if we can't be together. So we have to really start cultivating positive things and self-esteem and all those things back into our children, because to have an attachment like that to somebody to where, well, if we can't be together, then, will harm my family. It's not even Romeo and Juliet, because Romeo and Juliet was like, okay, well, if we can't be together, then we don't want to be here type of thing. But, to take out your family members, like obviously they didn't think that through, because now you're really not going to be together, because he's going to go to jail, prison, right? Probably for the rest of his life. And you'll probably do the same. And you're not going to be like hanging out. So you didn't think that through. And now you've left your whole family to grieve the loss, right, of family members because you wanted to be with your boyfriend. Now, I don't know whose idea it was, whether it was his or it was hers, but they both decided to go through with it. So I'm just telling this story, and I don't like telling this story, but I think one of the bigger pictures to something like this is we got to really get a hold of our children, start raising our children, and believe it or not raising your children is still raising your children, right? You might not be cultivating and pouring things that are positive into them, but deciding not to, and I'm not talking about that family, but deciding not to be hands-on and to raise your children, you're still raising them. And they're also raising themselves. The phone is raising them, social media, all that is raising them. And then unfortunately, you may get something like that. Again, I don't know what the situation was with her. It sounds like she had a pretty, good loving family that cared about her enough to say, hey, he ain't, girl, please, you 15, your boyfriend ain't finna stay here. He need to go home, right? So they cared enough about her, at least to say that. But something tells me, if they knew she would do that, they probably would have handled things a little bit differently. But there's no way they could have known that would be the result of telling her and her boyfriend no. So y'all tell me what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra K Show, here on YouTube. Peace.
I'm not gonna play this whole video because but I try to play at least maybe 10 to 15 minutes. This is, exposing the leader of FBA, Tariq Nasheed.
Speakers at PIFA's events have links to John Tanton, the racist founder of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Representatives from Numbers USA and the Center for Immigration Studies, groups founded by Tanton, participated. The incestuous nature of the Tanton network was embodied in the person of PIFA's executive director, Leah Durant, who formerly was employed by FAIR's legal arm, the Immigration Reform Law Institute.
this shaming tactic nonsense, when the media...
Before you buy cat food, take 5 seconds and look right here. The first 5 ingredients tell you almost...
In the left-wing media and their political operatives, they try to equate us, foundational Black American, with white supremacist talking points. That's not a good faith critique. That's a political con game. That's a tactic designed to force loyalty and compliance without them having to deliver any tangible return on investment.
That's a lie. Matter of fact, I'm going to show people that that's a lie real quick. We about to take a little we're about to do a little sidebar real quick. We about to look at this real quick. This is the history and the origin of the FBA hate cult and where their ideology come from. Shout out to everybody in the building. We must first go back. I'm going to play a clip of Tariq Nasheed when he first started repping ADOS, then known as DOS.
Tonight. You say Yvette Carnell made up the DOS term. That's a good term. I'll take my hat off to her. The DOS term is a very good term. I actually like that.
This is when Tariq first tried to steal DOS from Yvette Carnell. He's such a thief, intellectual thief. He tried to steal the ideology and make it seem like it was his own, but somebody in the comment section caught him. And was like, because he was riding around talking about, oh, well, let's talk about DOS. It's this new concept, making it seem like he came up with it. You can even see his face. And again, this is for all you bozos who claim that, oh, Tariq got FBA from Claude Anderson. The whole concept, the whole everything came from Claude Anderson. No, it didn't. He tried to, after he saw that Yvette and Carnell and them had ADOS sold up and they had it trademarked, he wanted to make something he could trademark. That's why he tried to steal the term Native Black American. But then he realized, oh, wait, that's a legitimate term. I can't trademark that. That's when he came back with foundational Black American and trademarked it. Well, let's keep it going.
Descendants of slaves or descendants of slavery. Very good term. Now, I like that term. You know, I have my differences with Yvette Carnell, but sometimes people do good things. I like that term. American DOS, descendants of slaves, descendants of slavery. All right. I'm here. That's a very good codified term. I like that. And we need to jump on terms like that. You did. Shout out to.
Look at him. He don't even know what to say because he was planning on going on a whole spiel trying to act like he created it. And somebody in the chat room called him out. Now, all he could do is heap praises on Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks. Mind you, this is the same Yvette Carnell that roasted Dr. Frances Cress Welsing when she heard that she died. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wasn't even dead for 15 minutes before Yvette Carnell came on the internet and was going crazy on her. Yvette Carnell also was violating Dr. Claude Anderson. But Tariq was quiet and rocked with her the whole way through, just like the rest of the new Black media. They even started attacking people like Dr. Ben and other Black leaders. All meat riding Yvette Carnell. But I'm going to keep stopping. I'm going to stop stopping it, and we're going to let it go.
Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. One thing I do commend them about, and Antonio, I've seen some of his videos. He brings good information. You know, they speak up for the African or the Black American experience.
As you heard right there too. You see, he was still saying African American. They're the reasons he even started switching to Black American, like following behind them. Trying to follow behind them. Family. Tariq is such a grifter that he was trying to steal the term, but somebody in the audience, several people actually, in the live stream audience, made it clear that, hey, that's Yvette Carnell's term. And he had to acknowledge it. You could see it in his face that he didn't want to do it, but he had to. He tried to steal the term in true grifter fashion. So as time would go on, he got down with ADOS. He got down with them, and then he started trying to push his own thing, which at first was Native Black American, but then he realized, hey, I can't trademark this. So he went back and he couldn't get that to pop. So he went back to ADOS, And then he came up with the bright idea of foundational Black American, something that he could trademark and he could push. And remember, when he did that, he was still preaching that foundational Black American and ADOS is the same thing.
Look, February 3rd, 2019. That was the birthday. That's the birthday for foundational Black American. That's their birthday.
Terms that mean the same thing. Before he started beefing with Yvette Carnell and ADOS, and he made it a full-blown splinter group, But he still held on to the ADOS ideology. And what is the ADOS ideology, and who is Yvette Carnell? Well, Yvette Carnell is the founder and
That's not true. That's not true, Gears of Truth. That's not true. Tariq already had the trademark before Michi X. What happened was foundational Black American started falling off, so Tariq just let the trademark lapse. He wasn't keeping up with it because, again, he was trying to grift his way back to Pan-Africanism a little bit around that time. And that's when Michi X picked up the term. And trademarked it because he let his trademark lapse and he had to fight her in court for it.
The joy of traveling well is experiencing the world more deeply.
That's what happened. He didn't just trademark it out of nowhere. But he didn't just trademark it because of Michi X. No. And mind you, and if it was truly an ethnic term, you wouldn't even need to trademark it. It's African American, the term trademark. No. It's Black American, the term trademark. No, in fact, when Tariq first tried to trademark foundational Black American, it got rejected because it had Black American in it. That's why he had to, when he submitted his second trademark for it, he had to say that I make no claim on the term Black American. Shout out to you though. Let me see something. Yeah, let's keep this going.
Leader of ADOS. This is her that you see on your screen right now with the MAGA hat. She created DOS, which now is ADOS, in about 2016, 2017. Around the same time, she was a board member for PIFA. What is PIFA? Progressives for Immigration Reform. And all you have to do is go to irs.gov and you can look them up. They're a tax-exempt organization. You can get their tax records. And then when you look it up, there you see Yvette Carnell, director. Yvette Carnell, secretary. Yvette Carnell, secretary again. That's right, Yvette Carnell. She was a board member, a high-ranking board member of a hate group. And some will say, well, show me that PIFA is a hate group. Because you're showing me that she's a board member, but you're not showing me that it's a hate group. Well, I'm going to do that for you right now. And we're going to start at the beginning with the man himself, John Tanton.
Hey, before we go on, shout out to everybody in the building. Thunderline is back. I thought I blocked him. Black American and African American is the same thing. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Ray. I think that's your name, Ray. I had to be the bearer of bad news. Black American and African American means the same thing. Oh, look, we got a new member. Shout out to you. I can't even see your name. How you want me to pronounce your name? Because I can't see it. It's too many letters together. Is that Emma? I think it's Emma. Shout out to you though. Thank you for becoming a new member. Family, you could become a member too. Just hit that join button. Just hit the join button. That's it. That's it. Just hit that join button. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Support the stream any way you can. Let me see let me see who this is. What's going on? That's Cap. Let's see what you got to say. Thunderline is you have no truth with you. And stop talking to her mistress, please. Because again, I think she don't want to talk to you anymore. So yeah. Because I'll do, if you got something intelligent to say, just let me know so I could debunk it in real terms and in real time. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to our new member. I think again, Emma. Okay, let's keep going.
He's now deceased, but he is the father of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Now, let's just read about him a little bit. John Tanton was the racist architect of the modern anti-immigrant movement. He created a network of organizations, the Federation for American Immigration Reform, the Center for Immigration Studies, and Numbers USA, that profoundly shaped the immigration debate in the U.S. About John Tanton, a retired Michigan ophthalmologist, Tanton had white nationalist beliefs and wrote that to maintain American culture, a European American majority is required. In his own words, I've come to the point of view that for European American society and culture to persist requires a European American majority, and a clear one at that. December 10, 1993, a letter to the late Garrett Harding, a controversial ecology professor. Now that we have learned about the racist architect of all this anti-immigrant bigotry that we see now we need to learn about the organizations he created and the networks that they spawned. Federation for American Immigration Reform. The Federation for...
Shout out to Carlette for coming through with gifting 5 memberships. Family, if Carlette gifted you a membership, make sure you thank her, and also you keep the membership going. You can lower it, you can raise it, but keep the membership going. Thank you, Carlette. Much appreciated.
American Immigration Reform, FAIR, is a group with one mission: to severely limit immigration into the United States. Although FAIR maintains a veneer of legitimacy that allows its principals to testify in Congress and lobby the federal government, this veneer hides much ugliness. FAIR leaders have ties.
Yes. They all operate under this fake veneer of, oh, we're just talking about immigration. Oh, we're just concerned about the nation. It's fake. It's just hate. It's just hate. The same thing with FBA. FBA constantly deploys the Motley Bailey fallacy, where they will say the most hateful, bigoted things, and then when you press them on that, they'll try to retreat to the, oh, we're just concerned about immigration. Oh, we're just concerned about our community and this and that and that and this. They can't never stand on what they said. They can't never stand on what they said. Can't do it.
We finally moved from California to Illinois, and it was the best decision we ever made, except for one thing. I'll get to that part in a second because it almost ruined everything.
Yeah.
But first, we left Los Angeles last August, and the change was immediate.
Hood mistress, let me know if you want me to, time them out. Let me know. Because I don't know if you want to keep talking to them, or you might want to keep talking back and forth with them. Just let me know. Shout out to you.
To white supremacist groups and eugenicists, and have made many racist statements. Its advertisement has been rejected because of its racist content. FAIR's founder, the late John Tanton, has expressed his wish that America remains a majority white population, a goal to be achieved presumably by limiting the number of non-whites who enter the country. One of the group's main goals is to upend the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which ended a decades-long racial quota system that limited immigration mostly to Northern Europeans. FAIR's president, Dan Stein, has called the act a mistake. And now that we have some background information on FAIR, the flagship organization, now we're going to learn about PIFA's connection to FAIR. The same PIFA that Yvette Carnell was a board member of, that she only resigned from being a board member of after she got outed and exposed for being a board member of PIFA. And people started to realize, hey, PIFA is just a white nationalist front. And she left them to maintain some level of legitimacy, even though I don't understand how she could maintain any legitimacy for being a part of a white nationalist front group, especially at that high of a rank. Because there's no way you're that stupid that you didn't realize what was going on. You knew, but she left to maintain some level of legitimacy. But here, we're going to get some background information into PIFA. Many speakers at PIFA's events have links to John Tanton, the racist founder of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Representatives from Numbers USA and the Center for Immigration Studies, groups founded by Tanton, participated. The incestuous nature of the Tantan network was embodied in the person of PIFA's executive director, Leah Durant, who formerly was employed by FAIR's legal arm, the Immigration Reform Law Institute. FAIR, which the Southern Poverty Law Center lists as a hate group, was founded by Tantan, who still serves on the group's board.
All right, so that's gonna conclude our show for today. Peace and blessings.